Okay. This video is going to talk a little bit about how to solve Pythagorean theorem. So if I remember Pythagorean theorem, A and B are always the legs, and C is the hypotenuse. So when I do this, I have A squared plus B squared equals C squared, where C is always, always, always across from that right angle. So I'm looking at this one. I want to solve for C. So I get 3 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. 9 plus 16 equals C squared. So 25 equals C squared. So just like in the last video, I talked about this a little bit. If you want to get rid of a square root, you square it. If you want to get rid of a square, you square root it. Square root, and C is going to be 5, which means my hypotenuse is 5. So likewise in this next one, I'm going to let this be C. 5 squared plus 7 squared gives me C squared. So 25 plus 49 equals C squared. 74 equals C squared. So then C is going to be 74. Now, this does not break down into any perfect square, so that's my final answer. So, for example, on this guy, I'm going to let this be C. 5 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. 25 plus 144 equals C squared. 169 is indeed a perfect square. It is 13. And that's my answer. Now, where this differs is if I'm solving something like 4, I have to let it be B. And then I switch up my formula. I get 6 squared plus B squared equals 10 squared. 36 plus B squared equals 100. I've got to isolate that B squared. And so B is 8. Again, you just kind of pay attention where or what I'm looking for. In this case, I'm looking for the hypotenuse. In this case, I'm looking for the leg. So if you look at the work for this one, 4 squared plus B squared equals 7 squared. 16 plus B squared subtracts 16. This does not break down, so B equals square root 33 is my final answer. Now on this one, when I let this be B, I get 2 squared plus B squared equals 6 squared, so 4 plus B squared equals 36. When I subtract 4 here, I'm going to get B squared equals 32. And what you have to be careful with is 32 breaks down into square root 16 square root 2. Final answer, 4 square root 2. Again, for this one, 5 squared plus 5 square root 3 squared equals C squared. Be careful because on this one, I have to distribute that squared. So this becomes 25 times 3. 25 plus 75 is equal to 100. And the square root of 100 is 10. And I'm done. Now, in terms of the word problems, you want to think about drawing a picture. So here I have a second-story window and a ladder rests against it, the ladder to get to the place. Now, the ladder is 8 meters long, and the base is 3 meters from the base of the wall. So how far is the window sill above the ground? Well, that's x. This makes a right angle here, and I get x squared plus 3 squared equals 8 squared. X squared plus 9 equals 64. And x squared equals 55. There's no perfect square. So it would be square root 55 meters. Don't forget to put your units. So if I think about this one, it says how far is the point? -7. Back 7. We'll just guesstimate back 7 up 24. That point is here from the origin. This one's going to be a bit tricky, but when I do this, I'm going to get, if I draw my right triangle, I can draw it like this. And so I'm looking for the distance from the origin, that's x. This is my x value, and this is my y. So I have -7 squared plus 24 squared equals x squared. If you go through and solve this, you're going to get x is equal to 25. Okay. For this one, it says a soccer field is a rectangle, 100 meters wide and 130 meters long. Coach asks players to run from one corner to the other corner diagonally across. What is the distance? So this is going to be x. So I can also put 100 over here because they're going to be the same. So I get 130 squared. So 100 times 100 is 10,000. 130 times 130 is 169,000. So when I add these, I'm going to get and then I just square that. Again, let's just make sure that we are good to go on this. Plus 20 to the square root of 269, which, sorry guys. You can leave it as square root 269. I think it does break down. Oh, okay. You can break this down into 100 and square root 269. I think we're going to leave it as that, and I will simplify it if need be. I'm so sorry. I will come back and simplify it if need be. Okay. First, find AB. So in the figure below, BAD is right triangle. And C is the midpoint of second AB. Given the dimensions marked in the figure, first find AB and then find CD. So you need to find AB first. So I'm going to have 24 and 26. So this is C. And this is B. Now, notice how those are both a factor of 2. This is technically what we call a 13, 12, 5 triple. And what a triple is, it's basically a couple that you should know. 5, 12, 13, 3, 4, 5, and 7, 24, 25. That's how I knew this one up here was 25. Now, if you look, your scale factor was 2 to get from here to here. So to go back, just double it, and this is 10. So AB is 10. And then since it tells you C is the midpoint, both of these have to be 5. And that's it. So technically on this one, since they're both factors of 10, you could reduce this. This could be 13, and this could be 10. This would be x. So that's why I multiplied this by 10 when I was done. You would still have to figure out what goes into 269. I don't think 9 goes into it. No. So this is the final answer there. All right. There's your video.